All right, we are live. Me, Huntman 10, Sanderson Farms Championship. What else could you want? We're gonna be breaking down the board. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be quick. Gonna go through everyone, see the guys we like, and I will now bring on Hunter. Hunter, thank you for joining. It's really nice to have you.
You bet. Thanks for having me on, man. We're coming off of a
Yeah.
fresh USA dub, so
Oh yeah, that was
gotta feel good.
awesome. Did you have anything specific on the Ryder Cup, or did you even bet it or just watched it?
I did, and I probably got scared off just because all the Europe hype, but it was
Yeah.
fun
See,
watching it. Go
like
ahead.
I'm more of a betting focused guy. You're more of a DFS guy.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, like we're just gonna be talking about golfers we like, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Everyone has the same goal. We all want to make money, so
Yeah.
should be fun. All right, we had the Country Club of Jackson in Jackson, Mississippi, par 72, just under 7,500 yards. It's going to be playing a bit shorter than the scorecard says, but nothing crazy about this course. It's pretty straightforward. Probably anyone can win. Ball striker,
Yeah.
so you can roll a million putts. There's nothing really specific that's going to make this course. That's why it's such a crapshoot, like picking a winner for this course. But we're gonna do our best to give you the guys who we like. Let's get right into the odds. So the opening odds: Burns, Connors, Zal, Garcia are the favorites. These actually have moved a little bit. And anyone you like from the top?
It's so different. See, it's really weird seeing some of these guys at 14, 16, 18 to
Yeah,
1 odds because they're always in that, that sweet spot of like 30 to 40 to 50. Um, from a betting perspective, I don't really know if I'd feel that great going, that high at the top of the board. I probably would like, I'd probably put a bet on Will's Outdoors just because I'm gonna bet on him almost every single time until he gets
me
that
too.
first win. Because going through what he did last year without having that official card, and I think he finished like 26 in the FedEx standings if he would have,
Right.
been able to qualify for that. So I'm always gonna want to, pick Will's Outdoors. We've heard all week, right, that anyone can win here, especially bad putters, and Will's
Yes.
Outdoors definitely fits that mold quite a bit. So he's
Ye-
probably my favorite. What do you think of Will this week?
I mean, if you follow me, like anyone knows that I'm probably the biggest Will Zalatoris fan out there. Like I bet him at the Masters last year. I've been betting him like since he
Dang.
first came up. Like I just love his game. I'm addicted to betting on ball strikers who can't
Yeah.
putt. So like that's Will Zalatoris. The only
Uh-huh.
thing about Will Zalatoris from this week for this week, I don't think he has minus 20 in him. I really don't. Like on a PGA Tour course, no matter,
Yeah.
even though it's an easy course, I don't think he has minus 20 in him. And like I'm the biggest Zalatoris fan, and as much as I want him to win, I can't bet him at like 16 or 20 to 1. I just cannot do it. But it's
Yeah.
crazy seeing like Sam Burns as a betting favorite. Like in the middle of the season last year, we would have never thought that Sam Burns would be the betting favorite, but that just goes to show. And this course does, like, I know I said anyone could win here, but this course makes a lot of sense for Sam Burns, and it's Bermuda, which is by far his best surface.
Yep.
Like, if Sam Burns goes out and wins, no one's going to be surprised, but I'm not going to be betting Sam
Yeah.
Burns. But actually, I started my card with Corey Connors, but not at 16, at 24 to 1. He's 24 to 1 on
Wow.
DraftKings. I really like Corey Connors. Another ball striker. Bermuda is his best surface, even though he's not a good putter. But if he can be a zero or like a slight gainer, that's all I can ask for. And has a really good chance of winning if he is a zero or slight gainer. So, but besides that, no one really else
Yeah.
here.
I like Corey Connors a lot this week too. I think he finished second here in 2018. He had a top 20 last year too. Like I said, everyone's been talking this week about how putting doesn't really matter that much, and ball striking is key. So, who
Yeah,
else to start off, or at least look at the card with Corey Connors or Will Zalatoris. So I like that call
exactly.
quite a bit.
Like Sergio Garcia won here last year. Luckily, I had him at 66 to 1, which was just a crazy number on Sergio Garcia. I don't remember exactly what it was that got me on him, probably just the pure ball striking. But I bet him at 66 to 1 and he won, and he had a great putting week. And that's all this week you're just hoping you bet on a ball striker and they have a spike putting week, and that's what it's going to take this
Yeah.
week. All right, well,
Do you
I'll
have
move down to these odds. What'd you say?
Do you have any thoughts on Sergio coming off the Ryder Cup? I've heard
I saw a
positive and
stat
negative. His
that I saw a stat that him following a Ryder Cup, he's like second, third, like four top tens or something crazy like that, which I didn't know like going into the week, but I think that's really interesting. And I mean, he's
Yeah.
defending, like, he's gonna try to win, and, like, I think he could have a good week. Like, he's gonna hit the ball well.
Yeah. No, I
So,
agree.
all right, the next group of guys is also pretty interesting. I actually bet Charlie Hoffman at 36 to 1 on, I think it was FanDuel too. It's crazy that the odds are so different from FanDuel to DraftKings. Usually those two are, like, very, like, similar, but that just goes to
Yeah.
show that the books don't really know what to do this week. And I like Charlie Hoffman. He was the second in my model. He's a slight gainer on Bermuda, and again, he's just a ball striker. And I'm addicted to betting on Charlie Hoffman for some reason. I'm not sure why, because he doesn't really have like win equity, or like he's not really like a cool player. But I just like Charlie Hoffman. Anyone you like from this range?
Charlie Hoffman, he's got the biggest, like I said, I'm a DFS guy. He's got the biggest difference between his odds here and his actual DraftKings salary. I think he's like
Oh,
9K.
really?
Yeah, a lot of these guys down below him are at least a little bit higher than him. I know Cam Tringali, Cam Davis, Keegan even. So I think the number that you got him at, though, is pretty solid. Um, he played so well I think, the beginning of the season last year, and then he kind of fell off a little bit, and he's starting to show some signs of that same, Hoffman that we saw at the beginning of the year. So this is kind of an important week for me, at least for, betting on him just to see how he does and if he still has that same form. Tringali is probably going to be a no for me. Just he doesn't
No,
really win.
does not move the
Cash,
needle.
yeah, cash game play only for me. Cam Davis is one that's starting to grow on me a little bit. I know Rick Rungood was on him a lot at the 3M Open. He even talked about him a little bit too on his podcast, I think. And that's just a course that I think is really similar to this. It's just a course, like he said too, like you can just bomb it and really you don't have to worry too
Hmm.
much about accuracy rather than some other courses, I guess. So I think he's definitely one that's growing on me. I think I'd probably put him on my card at that number even. Have you seen a better number on Davis at all?
I saw all of 35s to 40, and I mean, he's won. What did he win? He won at Rocket, and I mean, he could win it because this course I saw it had like one of the highest percentages of greens in regulation percentage from the rough. So like
Yep.
this sets up well for him. Like if you're gonna miss the fairway, and it's not like it's particularly tight. It's visually tight, but it's not like it's particularly tight. And if he can bomb it down there and still have a good chance of getting on the green from the rough, like it makes sense to bet Cam Davis. And
Yeah.
he's been up and down with if his ball striking has been good, his around the green has been bad, and he's been up and down with that. But if he can put it together, it really makes sense, especially in a field like this.
Yeah, and I got that wrong. It's you're right, Rocket Mortgage that he won.
Rocket
I think
Mortgage.
yeah, Detroit Golf Club. I got that wrong. So I think that's kind of a good comp course. There's less water on this one, I think, than at Detroit,
Hmm.
but I think that's a pretty similar course.
And that's another reason I like Charlie Hoffman because he is like one or two blow up holes away from having a really good finish like each tournament. I feel like it was the last two tournaments he like blew up on 18 on Sunday to like miss out on a top 20 or top 10. And whether I had it or not, it's just like limiting those holes. I bet him at, I think it was Valero or one of those Texas tournaments. He made an 8 on day one and ended up like losing by 1 or 2 to like, that was the tournament Spieth won, whatever tournament that was. But yeah,
Yeah,
we'll move
Houston,
on.
I
But
think.
I know I've seen a lot of Keegan buzz. Any you like Keegan?
I mean, he fits that mold we're talking about, right? Ball striker who can't really putt too well. So,
Yeah.
I think Keegan got fourth last year.
Hmm.
So he's got good course history too. 35 to 1, not a bad number. We've seen, some of the older players win on tour last year. Lucas Glover, Stuart Sink a lot. Um, it's probably not for me. I'm not a huge Keegan fan, I guess. That's one more of a
No.
gut call, I guess. Any love for him from you?
Well, I talked to my friend John, PGA Tout, last week, and I said, "Get ready for Keegan week next week." But then when I ran the numbers and like the numbers were good. Like he popped up in my model, but then I saw everyone on like not everyone, but a lot of people on Twitter were on Keegan, and like there's just no way possibly that we're getting a community Keegan win. That's just like Keegan is not doing that for us. Like as much like it's just
Yeah.
impossible. So and like from betting, like not even just golf, all sports, I know that like the plays that you don't think are gonna happen is what's gonna happen. Like there was a
Yeah.
community win last week with Homa, and we're not gonna get another community win, especially if it's Keegan Bradley. Like just not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Oops. My bad. Let's fix
No,
that.
you're
Sorry.
good. All right, I'll scroll down
Yeah.
to the
Okay.
next group of guys. I know there's some popular guys in this group.
Yep.
The next person I bet is actually your camera's good?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm trying to fix it here. Sorry, man.
All right, I'll keep talking. If you want to pop in, pop in. Mito is the next guy in my card. He was third in my model. He's long, and his best surface is Bermuda. And I know it's a small sample size, but it is his best surface as of now. He was tied first in approach at Fortinet 2 weeks ago. Tied first in approach at Fortinet based on the guys that are in this field. So he's in great form. Obviously, he's always at the top of the leaderboard. And this is the first time I bet Mito, and everyone's on Mito. I don't have to tell you guys about Mito, but what do you like
Yeah.
him? You like any?
Oh, definitely. That's my smash bet of the week. And it's not even like I said, everyone's on this. I'm sure this would be the community win. I think if you were to come out
Yes.
here and win this, I thought his number would be way lower than this too. They finally jacked up his DraftKings price to where he won't be like 30%, hopefully. But I could still see him being the chalk of the chalk. For DraftKings at least. He's just been playing so well. Everyone's been on him. And he's been playing well in like decent tournaments too, like the Olympics, obviously, but these haven't been horrible fields. Um, they're not like the majors or anything, but yeah, I love
Yeah.
Mito. That's a good number, I think. Like I said, that's kind of the community spot, I think. So we don't really have to sell anyone on him.
Yeah, and I tweeted out that one of these weeks Mito Pereira is going to shut down a sports book, and like it might be that week because everyone bets him every single week, and I feel
Yeah,
like this is the week, especially if he can get to we know he can get in the 20s. He's gotten to like 27, I think, on the Corn Ferry Tour, and like even though it's a different course, scoring is scoring. Like Zalatoris never got that low on the Corn Ferry Tour. I looked at like his numbers from. That's why I don't bet him at these like Birdie Fest events. He's like a greens and regulation, tough conditions kind of guy. That's how he does. He's done well in the majors.
yeah.
My thing with him last week, why I bet him at Safeway or Fortinet, is because that had the chance to like have like a minus 15, minus 16 score. It's happened like twice in the last 5 years, and I thought that if it got to minus 16 or 15, Zalatoris would have had a really really good chance last week, and it was close, but he would have like T6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I didn't bet him there. But if they're gonna be minus 20 or greater, I like Mito, and I didn't bet anyone else on this page. Woodland popped in my model like more than I thought he was going to. I don't know why, but he
Mhm.
did. But I just cannot get to Gary Woodland right now.
Yeah, so up and down. I wouldn't feel that great about it, even at that number. I think there's just better guys around him that give you more value, or at least higher chance to go out there and win. The same thing what you said about Zalatoris. I don't see Gary Winland going out and shooting a minus 20 or a
Right.
minus 19 to win this thing. So, um, yeah, Matthew Wolf, I really would like to see it, but I also would like to be on him before everyone else is. He's so
Seems
up
like
and
a lot of
down.
guys got on him.
Really? Okay.
I
Yeah.
think his number I think he opened around in like the 60s or maybe even like 60s 50s, and it's already bet down to 40 on DraftKings. But I mean, he's a popular name. That's
Yeah.
but if Matt Wolf wins, I'm not going to be surprised if I gotta I'll pull up something. Look at these numbers from Matthew Wolf.
Yep.
Look at how bad he has been off the tee. Like it's actually absurd. Look at all that red off the tee. Like
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
that's not Matthew Wolf needs to be an elite off the tee guy. Like that's how he's gonna win, and he can't. All this red, it just cannot happen. So I can't.
Yeah.
If Matthew Wolf wins, he wins. But like, there's no sign saying that he will win, and it's just a gut pick rather than anything else. So I'm not gonna be on Wolf, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Munoz has won here before. Varner was a very popular pick. He modeled out for me well, but I couldn't get there based on how I constructed my card. What about you? Any of those guys?
Not really. Even like thinking about their DraftKings prices, and like Munoz is in the 9K. Yeah, they're just not for me. I don't really feel good about them at the number that they're at. Like you said, like all of these guys could go out and win. But when it comes to these kind of tournaments, I really try to look for numbers and who has the highest chance of winning at that specific number, I guess. So
Right. So do you construct a betting card every week, or you're just strictly DFS? Or do
I'm
you just sprinkle a few darts?
mostly DFS because I live in Nebraska and it's illegal here. So sometimes
Right.
I'll drive over to Iowa just to drop some DraftKings bets down,
Really?
but mostly DFS.
Is that far from you?
No, I'm in Omaha, so it's like 20 minutes away.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Oh,
He
that makes
was.
sense. That makes sense. That's pretty cool. All right, we'll scroll
Yeah,
down.
thanks.
Oh,
I think I'm gonna have to this week just from talking to you about it.
yeah.
So
No one here from this. Actually, never mind. I didn't see him there. But Taylor Pendrith, he opened at like 80 in some books, and he's really popular just because I know he's modeling out like crazy in a bunch of people's stuff because he doesn't have that many numbers, but when he's played on the PGA Tour, they've been awesome, and his off the tee game has been like ridiculous, which makes sense at this course.
yeah,
But he almost let me see what I had him at. He was first in off the tee at Safeway or Fortinet, like in this
yeah,
field. So that makes a lot of sense. But I'm not gonna get there with Pendrith because you just don't know. Like he played 3 events.
yeah. I
I'm not.
remember seeing that too. He was like he gained so many strokes off the tee, but then he lost like 5 strokes on approach, which I didn't even think that was like
It
possible.
doesn't
Those
make
two things,
sense.
yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can bomb it off the tee. I actually watched him at a Corn Ferry event. Just watched him for 2 holes. He had a par three. It was over 200 yards, and he just smoked it over this big land or this big body of water to about 12 feet, and then drained the birdie putt too. And I was like, well, I'm sold. I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to play him at some point. So, hey, like you said, I'd like to see it from him first. There's just guys that are below him here that have, have been on tour for years, and I just trust a little bit more, I guess. So,
Yeah, like you can't trust someone who's 50 to 1 who's like you've never really seen before. But he might be one of the low key Corn Ferry guys, like up and coming. Like I feel like he's proving that quickly, especially based on the betting odds. Like there's some names that I would have thought would have been way higher than him, like Grayson Sig.
yeah,
He's all over the place in the betting odds, and
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. But my next outright play is actually Aaron Wise. He
Mhm.
was tied for third in my model. He switched to a broomstick putter late in last season, and since he's done that, he's just like gotten better. He's been like a liability on the greens, but since he's gotten the broomstick putter, he's doing a lot better. He's sixth on the PGA Tour in the bucket range, which is the 100 to 125 for this week. Is the
Mm,
highest percentage of approach shots, which I really like, and I
yeah,
feel like he's got some win equity, and I like him to win in a field like this.
yeah. I like that a lot. Again, he fits that same mold we were talking about, guys who can just ball
Yeah,
strike the ball and aren't great putters, but it just doesn't seem like we really need that this week. So I like that
we
call a
don't.
lot. He's another one of those guys that could really boom this year. Just has the potential, some of those young guys. So I like that call quite a bit. He'll definitely be in my pool as well. So
Yeah.
um,
Anyone else from this page you like?
Scott Stallings played pretty well at the Fortinet. He seems to pop quite a bit. I'm not going to pick him to win, but I think he'd be like a good top 10 play, depending on the odds,
Yep.
of course. But yeah,
I
not
already bet
really.
him top 20.
I like that. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
been playing well.
the reason I bet him top 20 was because last week when I was sweating, I had Homa, or 2 weeks ago, I had Homa and McNeely, and I was like, is Scott Stallings really going to do this? Am I going to lose to Scott Stallings? And then when I looked at the course history stuff from like last year and like his recent form, I was like, I'm not doing this again where I'm sweating an outright and losing to Scott Stallings. So I'm just going to bet him top 20 as like a life hedge. But I think that could actually hit, and like that would be awesome if I could hit an outright and he gets top 20. But
Yeah,
I just can't bet Scott Stallings outright. He does not move the needle for me at all, and he's just
no,
like not fun to watch.
yeah.
All right.
It's one of those tournaments.
Anyone? Yeah. Anyone specific in this group you like?
Um, mm, Chris Kirk's won here before. He's got a runner up here as well. I'm assuming that's why his number's where it's at. He hasn't really been showing it recently. Probably not for me. Patton Kizzire is another one that really jumps up and down. Um, there aren't as many water hazards like you were saying with Chuck Hoffman, so I feel a
Yeah.
little bit better about Kizzire, just with that aspect alone. I don't know. He's just so up and down. I mean,
I
that's what
mean,
you want. Go ahead.
Kazire, I feel like would be a good DFS guy. If he can make the cut, he's bound to have a 61 on Sunday. Like that's just like what he does. So
Dude,
I mean, I'm not
because
gonna get there with any of these guys, but
yeah, Kizzire was
that be
on. Sorry, I cut you off.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're good.
Kizzire was on my like never play ever again list for a
Yeah.
long time. But then he just had a couple of consistent weeks. I think he plays the best in Texas. I know Mississippi is. I mean, It's not Texas, obviously, but
Yeah.
so probably not for me. Like you said, more of a DFS play for me.
Yeah. All right. I'll scroll down. There's
Sweet.
Grayson Sig. Wow. I
There you
saw
go.
him over 100 on, I don't know what book I saw him on. I saw him over 100. That's ridiculous. CT Pan, he finished, he had a good, I think he had a good outing here last year or last time he
Yeah,
played. And he finished like 4th or 5th in the Fortinet. So he definitely makes sense this week. I think I might get to him in the top 10 market, but
yeah.
that's it. Anyone else from here?
Yeah, like the CT Pan call, like you said, he played pretty well in the Olympics too. A lot of these guys, got to recommend everybody to really be shopping some of these numbers around because
Yeah.
I've heard different numbers. I think Chad Ramey up above there at 6,500 is, you can find him at, at least 100 or 120 plus is what I've
Yeah, I
been
saw a
seeing at
few
least. So.
guys on chattering me. I don't really know much about that guy. Like, what what's his deal?
So same exact thing last or at the Fortnite tournament. He had just crazy odds, so that's why I played him in DraftKings and he ended up missing the cut. So I didn't look
Wow.
too deep into the numbers because he kind of pissed me off there. But
Yeah,
he was yeah.
saw a few guys on him, but no one really specific there. I don't like these numbers really. I'm just gonna scroll down. If you see anyone, feel free to shout him
Shank's
out.
Shank's not bad. He's been playing decent over the last couple of months. 80-1's not a bad number in my opinion. He played
Yeah, I
really
feel
well
like
at the Barbasol, I think.
I'm gonna actually scroll back up because I
No,
passed
you're
over
good.
my next play. So this is my 5th play. I have 7 plays. I do I risk 5 units to return 35 units. That's how I set up my betting card. My next
Sweet.
play is Emiliano Griot. I can't believe this is the second straight week out of 2 that I'm betting Griot. Like, it's actually upsetting that I'm doing that, but he was 10th in my model. He's a ball striker. Like, no one's gonna. I don't have to sell anyone on Griot's ball striking. Um, he's played here twice. He's made cuts both times. First time he gained 7.5 strokes tee to green, and last time he gained 3.1 tee to green. He's lost strokes putting every single time, but he's second time he's done better, and he's never hit his Bermuda baseline on putting. So I feel like if he could just hit his Bermuda baseline, which is still like a slight loser, if he could hit his Bermuda baseline and just ball strike the ball like how he normally does, that's why I like him. So Sergio won last year, just a strict ball striker. If Griot could have a normal putting week, not normal, like a slightly good putting week, I really like his chances. I got him at 66.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Griot, not a great putter, but he can ball strike that ball like crazy. He's been kind of up and down recently. I think he played well at the Open Championship. I guess that's been so far ago now, but
Yeah.
yeah, another one of those guys that's up and down. I like Griot a lot too. That's a good number for him because in DraftKings salaries, he's grouped with like the Streelman and some of those guys that are at like the
Oh,
25 to
really?
30
Is
range
he
even.
really?
Yeah, yeah,
I got to look
great
more into
number there.
that. See, I don't play. I have nothing against DFS. I'm better. I'm better like at betting, which does their thing, and I should like
Yeah.
look at those a little bit more. But I don't
I
want to
was gonna.
confuse myself too much.
That's what I was gonna. So you don't play any DFS? You said.
I don't play any DFS at all. Like, I always like say that I want to. I talked to my friend Brian, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get in a DFS contest, but I just never do because I handicap not every single sport, a lot of sports, and I'm just so like all over the place, and I don't want to do something I'm not confident in. I'm sure
Yeah.
I like would do okay, but I just don't want to like get there.
No,
I like betting better.
it's just
All right.
different. Like, sorry, real
No,
quick.
keep
Like, you
going.
don't have to worry about ownership and that kind of stuff when you're focusing on betting, which is like that's why I kind of liked it. I was like, I can say Mito is a slam pick, and I don't feel shameful because he's the chalk play. I mean,
Yeah, and sometimes I scare myself in betting that people are high owned, which doesn't make sense because high owned guys are high owned for a reason.
yeah,
So, like, but I don't know. That scared me off, guys, at the end of last season. But I've kind of figured it out now, and I think I'm in a good spot. But
yeah,
over here, Luke List. If you want to bet Luke List, go for it. It's not going to be me. He's going to strike the ball. He's going to make 0 putts. Same
yeah,
thing with Doug Gim. I actually hate betting on Doug Gim, even though he's um. And
yeah.
anyone else from this list?
Um, I think Jaeger, I think you pronounce it like that,
Jaeger,
and
Steven
Aaron
Jaeger.
Rye. Yeah, they're both some corner tour guys that were pretty successful over the last year.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
surprised Aaron Rye actually Like he played a full year of his whole career, and he just like went to the Corn Ferry Tour finals and just like made it, and now he's playing in PGA Tour. Good for him.
Some of
But I'm
those
not
guys,
gonna bet him.
yeah. I don't really understand the like the full Corn Ferry Tour finals, all that how it works, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of cool. All
that's
right, I'll scroll down a little more. All right, I see my next play. My next play is actually Hudson Swafford. I have him at 125 to 1 on FanDuel, I believe. He was 12th to my model. He was first in off the tee and second in approach at the Northern Trust, which it was actually just like 2 or 3 tournaments ago, even though it was a while back on the calendar.
yeah.
And he missed the cut at Fortinet, but I don't love it. But I just bet the number basically to round out my card. And that's that's really all I have to say about Hudson Swafford. He went like it was the Northern Trust BMW. He had some of the craziest ball striking numbers like I've ever seen like in a 2 week period. It was that kind of out of nowhere, but if he could do that again, I'll take that shot with 125 to 1.
Yeah, I think that's a great number that you got him at. Clearly a bargain. What we're looking at now too. He's definitely like the top of the bottom end here of guys that made the FedEx playoffs last year and are playing in this event at least. So
Yeah.
yeah, he just played so well in those last couple of tournaments. I'm curious on how many people will be on him this week. It's a good number though. He's a guy that just pops all the time. So
Yeah, I feel like he was I mean, I don't know, but I feel like in the last few weeks of the like BMW, he was probably like one of the sneaky like low salary DFS guys that a lot of people were going to be on at
yeah,
BMW, which would have made sense. I saw a lot of people on Augenstein. He is a Vanderbilt grad, I believe, or
yeah,
Vanderbilt. I don't know if he graduated, but went to Vanderbilt. Had crazy ball striking numbers last week. I think he top 10, and I was looking at his Instagram the other day. He has one of the craziest moves I've ever seen. He gets through the ball. He looks like a stud, and he might be a stud. So if you're on Augenstein, I think that's a good pick.
yeah. I actually haven't watched him yet. So I'll have to check out that swing. I
Yeah, you
know that, like you said, he's a
check it
Corn
out.
Ferry stud. Yeah, I, it's kind of
It's
funny
legit.
watching like Wolf and all those guys with kind of
Yeah.
unconventional swings.
I
So
sent it to my friend. I was like, "Wow!" Like it's not really unconventional. It's just like crisp and fast
oh,
and smooth. I was like, this kid looks legit."
okay,
Um,
gotcha.
I saw. I mean, Malnati backdoored to top 3 here last year,
Yeah,
but Malnati is one of probably the most unpredictable golfers. Poston is a course horse, but I'm not
yeah. I was
betting
gonna.
JT Poston.
That's one that I was
He's
thinking
boring.
about. Just because he's it's more the number play. I don't feel great about. I'm not gonna play him in DFS because there's a much higher chance that he's gonna sink my lineups rather than be a good bet, I guess. But he just like if he's gonna make the cut, there's a strong chance that he's playing really, really well, and the course just fits him. So I don't mind him,
Yeah,
especially at that number.
Poston is a big. He doesn't really like pop too much like with his numbers, but if he throughout his whole career, if he plays good on a course, he plays good on a course. Like that's like
Yeah,
what I don't know why he just has his courses, and I guess he plays the courses he likes, but he just always does good on the same courses. So he definitely does make sense this week. I'm not gonna bet him, but he makes sense. I saw a few guys on Thigala. I like Thigala. Like I think he's gonna be good over the next few years. I actually bet him outright at the Fortinet. I don't really remember where he finished, but 2 years ago he finished like sixth. And he's from Cali. He's a Pepperdine grad. Won a national championship. So I think he could be good in a few years. Anyone
yeah.
else from here?
Uh, Not really. Mccarthy, another one of these Corn Ferry guys. But I mean, it seems like there's a lot of these Corn Ferry players from last year
Yeah,
that are in this tournament.
they're all just playing like while they can, like because
Yeah,
before all the big guys come in, trying to get as many points as I can probably. Yes, he
yeah,
look. I expanded the board because we're kind of getting into some crazy names.
yep,
It's kind of crazy that Fratelli is 130 to 1 and around these names,
yeah,
which is surprising. I'm not gonna bet Fratelli. I know a bunch of guys were on him last week and he just totally shit the bed.
yeah.
See, I don't I can't do
Those are the
Fratelli.
plays that just burn you and it makes you never want to play like risky guys ever again because you
Yeah,
feel so
like
good
Fratelli
about it.
can't make it makes no sense.
Exactly.
Just yeah, these are just all crazy numbers around some of these guys. Wyndham
Yeah,
Clark, I feel like if Wyndham Clark was going to do good somewhere, it would be here. Just
Yeah.
bomb the ball, maybe hit some fairways. Doc Redman, I don't know what's going on with him because
Yeah.
last week made so much sense for him, or 2 weeks ago, and
Mhm.
he got nothing going, missed the cut. But so I feel like this is another place that kind of makes sense if I don't know though. I can't. He's hard to predict.
Yeah. Again, I always just think of these. I mean, I'm so DFS oriented. Like his price is so cheap this week. I mean, he's normally up there with, I mean, like guys like Desire, for example, pricing wise, but he is so cheap. I mean, he's with all of these Corn Ferry guys down at the bottom.
It's
It is
crazy.
kind of, yeah.
And like he's
And
proven himself that he's a PGA Tour, not a PGA Tour stud, but he's a PGA Tour solid player. Like I
yeah.
feel like kind of disrespected in the odds board. And he was again he was at the Fortinet too. He was 150 to 1. I bet him outright and got
Yeah.
killed. But I mean luckily I won, but
He plays pretty
what are
well
you
at,
doing, Doc?
yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. He
crazy.
plays pretty well at Detroit too, so that could be a good course comp, I guess. But
Yeah.
Danny McCarthy, I think, is another. Pretty sure your guy or our guy PJ Tout. I think he's Twitter's guy, but at this point, I think he was talking about him as a horse for the court. Like he's performed well here. I just read that in his article. I think
He is
so.
elite on Bermuda too.
Yeah,
So I mean, I don't think this is a week to bet a grass specialist because this is a week that it's just I don't know if this makes sense, but like the good putters aren't going to have that much of an advantage because I think everyone's going to have a putting advantage because the green complexes are so not complex. They're very flat and they're probably similar to I don't want to say they're similar to a public course, but as similar as it gets on a PGA Tour course that
yeah,
these non-elite putters have great putting weeks. So I don't think this is a week to go look at like Chesson Hadleys and Denny McCarthy's and like just Zach Johnson's who are just like elite grass guys. But anyone else from this page, but we're getting down to some like insane names.
yeah,
Tom Hoagie, he's been playing some good golf, but
yeah. I mean, we could
nope.
throw out names, but they're not ones that I'm really feeling confident about, I guess.
Yeah. I mean that I had I gave out my 6 guys. I can go down because I have one more play to round out my card who's an absolute bomb just because I had a little bit of like less than half a unit left. If you see any names you like, stop me, but I'm gonna get down to my guy.
Go
If I
ahead,
can
yeah.
find him. Wow, there's no way he's this long. I'm just gonna have to search him up.
Tyler
There he is.
Duncan is at 300 to 1. Chesson Hadley, geez.
That's my last guy, Matthew Neesmith.
Neesmith.
Why did I bet Matthew Neesmith? All right, he's a card filler. He's filling my card, but he was actually, believe it or not, tied first in approach with Mito at Safeway.
Okay.
He finished 51st because he lost 6.64 strokes on and around the green. If he's not going to do that again. I promise you he will not lose that many strokes again. If he does, I'm not going to say I'm going to quit betting, but he will not do that again. Maybe his approach numbers are going to go down. He gained 6.25, but he's always a model guy. Like he always pops in models because he strikes the ball well. If he can strike the ball not that well, but well enough, and just not lose 6.6 strokes on and around the green, I'll take my shot. I got him at 260 to 1 at FanDuel.
Wow. Yeah.
I put literally $7 on him to like return a full pay. So that was my last guy on the card. So
Yeah.
anyone
I
else
like
you want to
that.
get to before? Yeah, these names are
Um,
crazy.
yeah, it is crazy. Like I said, I mean, last year with the shutdown, like I feel like a lot of the top end golfers were just playing events because they couldn't during the summer, because or at least in May and June with COVID and everything. But now, I mean, with the Ryder Cup just being done and the long super season finishing up, there's not like that strong of a field here. So yeah, I mean, some of those names down at
Yeah.
the bottom are tough.
Like, yeah, this is if a guy 200 plus wins this week, no one's gonna be surprised. Like,
Yeah.
it's a crapshoot. Like, there's only so many predicting factors at a course. There's only so many predicting factors at like Birdie Fest because so many like different variables and you don't know what you're gonna get. But we do our best to just try to find those small factors and lead us on the best guys. And
Mhm.
I think you and I do a good job and finding the value in the odds at 50 to 1 plus because you can always make a case for the best guys because they're the best golfers, but you got to find guys who perform good at courses that we don't know how they're gonna react. So it's
Yeah.
gonna be a crapshoot, but it should be a fun week.
Yeah, like you said, this is a tough week because one, it's like the field is really weak, but also, I mean, anyone can win because it's bad putt. I mean, bad putters can win here. First time winners have won here. It's
Yeah.
it's a crapshoot, like you said. So
I really do. I really do think that it's just gonna be like a stud ball striker who just has a good putting week. I don't think it's gonna be like some like steady guy, but I think it's just gonna be like Sergio last week who just goes
yeah,
crazy, or last year. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'm gonna be posting my cards tomorrow. You're gonna post your pool, right? Like you always
yep,
do.
yep, tomorrow, yep,
All right.
for sure, man.
Anything else you want to say?
Not really. I mean, is there any guy on there that's like your favorite? I always like to ask this to those that kind of focus on betting, especially like the outrights. Like, who would you pick to win if numbers like the odds to win didn't really matter?
Well, Sam Burns broke my model. Like he was number one in my model, but even with that, I don't think he's gonna win because this is such a crapshoot and such a like anything could happen week. And this is his first event of the season. He might be like ready to go. Like Homa, like I said about Homa, I said he's gonna be ready to go. He wants to prove a point. If Burns comes out and proves a point, no one would be surprised. That would definitely make sense. But if I had to pick one guy out of the guys I picked, who would I pick? Probably Mito. Probably
Yeah,
Mito. It makes sense. That would be cool because we're all on Mito, so that would be awesome.
yeah. I think I might have to drive over the border and slap a bet down on Mito because I got to be part of the community win if he pulls it
Yeah,
off.
I mean, yeah. If you don't feel like driving, you can Venmo me. I can play some bets for you.
That's
Let
true.
me know if you want to do anything. But
All right.
yeah. If Mito wins, Charlie Hoffman, Aaron Wise, those are probably the three I would pick. If I
Yeah,
had to
I like that
pick.
a lot. Mito for sure. I gotta throw Will Zalatoris out there. Like you said, I don't know if he's gonna hit that full -20, but I don't think we've seen like the full ceiling performance out of him on the PGA Tour. Like he's
Yeah,
had,
no, I agree.
you
I
know,
agree. He's
so
he's 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 so close. And if I do miss out on Zalatoris' first win, I'm going to be very upset because I love Will Zalatoris. He's like my favorite golfer. But I'm kind of hoping that it is a lower scoring week because I don't have him and I don't think he can get to -20. But if he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong. But
yeah,
I just don't see him. I don't think he has that many birdies and putts made in him. But that's just not his game. Like he's a difficult conditions guy. But
yeah,
we'll see. Anything can happen. It's going to be a crapshoot week, and I hope we can hit something this week.
yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.
Of
It's fun
course.
talking with you.
Yeah, we'll get together soon. This was fun.
Yep,
Hope you guys we gave you guys some winners and we'll be back next week. So
yep,
hope
you
everyone
bet.
has a good night.
Good
Thank
luck,
you.
everyone.